YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Yo, the best that ever did it, a true winner, 6 p.m. Back with the best underdog, best cash cows for college football, week 7. We already in week 7. Where does the time go? It was just week 0. Get you a joint, get you a blunt, get you a cone, get you whatever, and buckle down. We gonna kick it off with the Thursday on 4th. And the first game for Thursday is gonna be West Virginia at Houston. West Virginia coming off of a crucial win. Crucial win, 3-point win against TCU on the road. And they beat Texas Tech before that. Beat up a bad Pittsburgh team before that. West Virginia's looking pretty solid. That same Texas Tech team that West Virginia beat, they just got trounced. You know what I'm saying? It was a 56-point half for both teams in the first half, 28-28 at halftime, and then they just let Texas Tech run off with it. We told people that Houston is not that good this year. They beat up on Sam Houston. That's about it. TCU beat up on them. And that's just another team that West Virginia found a way to beat. Houston also allowed Rice to put up 28 in the first quarter. All signs are pointing towards West Virginia in this one. I like West Virginia to lay the 3. Houston is not nobody. I'm looking to back against a solid team that showed me they could beat tough opponents and on the road. It's SMU, East Carolina. SMU is the much better team, way more battle tested. East Carolina is a team that can give up a lot of points here. And as we see what they did against App State, they were up at halftime against App State and they let them run off with it. They couldn't beat Rice, couldn't beat Marshall. I don't think they'll ever beat. SMU if you're not beating Marshall. SMU all day to lay the 10. I wouldn't lay too many points. I would lay 2 touchdowns with SMU. I would lay the 14, but I wouldn't lay anything over 14 with SMU. Tulane at Memphis. Now, this is a game where I like Tulane. Honestly, I like Tulane. I see why they're the favorite. They're the better team to me. Memphis did not look good against Navy. As simple as that. Tulane, they did not look good against UAB, but they found a way to come back and win after trailing. You know what I'm saying? They beat Nichols. They beat Southern Mississippi. That ain't nobody. Nichols isn't nobody, and they beat South Alabama, who's everybody so high on, and they also beat a UAB team who has some fight in them. Memphis beat up on a mediocre Boise State team, mediocre, but we see Boise State just took a shit on themselves against San Jose State, so that's pretty much that much of a good win for Memphis if you're letting, you know what I'm saying, Boise State like this with you. If they just lost to San Jose. But, man, Memphis did not look good against Navy. Threw 2 interceptions. Did not look good, but they did look good against Missouri. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those teams that stoops down and up to people's levels. Similar to App State. Memphis is very similar to App State. They stoop down to competition or they stoop up. I think that's not a good recipe for winning in the long term. I think Tulane is the better defense. And Tulane is one of those teams that has the offense. You know we got offense on Tulane. They even put up 20 against Ole Miss. I like Tulane in this one against Memphis. But I do see Memphis keeping it close. Memphis might pull out the upset. if they get another turnover on defense. You know what I'm saying? If they could win a turnover battle, Memphis can win this game. But I'll lean with Tulane. Fresno only laying 6 against a weak Utah State team. I don't know why people so high on Utah State. What did they do? They beat Colorado State by 20. The worst team in the country almost, and in UConn, they damn near lost that. They lost James Madison after letting them be up huge in the first quarter. They tried to make a comeback, lost it, and then Air Force put a thrall up to them. I don't see what everybody sees in Utah State. Fresno is one of those teams. Fresno is one of those teams they were just previously ranked. They took a good game to Wyoming, but home crowd advantage kind of won that game for Wyoming, the momentum, and I just think Fresno is the way better team. Held Arizona State to 0 all 4 quarters, who kept close with USC. Fresno will win this game by more than 6. I got Fresno to lay for 2 touchdowns. 2-touchdown win for Fresno. Stanford at Colorado. Colorado laying 12. Kind of laying points with Colorado is not such a good idea. I don't think Colorado's defense is that big. The lineman is not that big on the O-line. He can't run the ball. I think Stanford hangs in there. I think Stanford covers. Colorado wins. Colorado wins. Stanford covers. Purdue plus 19.5 against Ohio State. And now we got Ohio State. Man, Ohio State took it to Maryland, man, that second half. I had Maryland to cover the spread, which they did cover the 20 points. But Maryland got a good offense. They just lacking on the defensive side. And then when you see Ohio State go up against a great defensive group in Notre Dame, they eked out a gutsy victory at the end. Put up 63 against Western Kentucky. And then week 1 they put up against Indiana 23-3. Held them boys to 3. I think Indiana's arguably around or better than Purdue. So I think instantly Ohio State could easily cover the 20-point spread, but man, I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on them covering 19, but I do think Ohio State wins this comfortable. I could see closer to like 14 points, maybe even 10-point win for Ohio State, but it's something comfortable, maybe lower scoring, but comfortable. Temple at North Texas. North Texas laying a 7 against Temple. Now, North Texas is a very high-scoring team with no defense. They just lost to Navy by 3. It's a good win for Navy. Louisiana Tech did almost have a shot at winning. Abilene Christian did put up 31. You lost to FIU and Cal. And look at the scores, all overs except for Navy's. When you see a dormant offense, maybe like a lower scoring, run-heavy offense like Navy, yeah, it's going to be probably an under. But you know what this Temple team's doing? They're putting up 34 and letting the 49 hang against UTSA. UTSA is not looking good right now. So I think North Texas and these boys goes well over the total again. I think this might be 37-31. 28-42, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Both teams gonna light the scoreboard up here. It might be like 21-20 something in the first half. I think we get well over the total of 70 and we get a North Texas win. North Texas on the money line. and the over. Kent State, EMU. Gotta go with EMU in this one. EMU is the much better, sound, solid team, and they're at home. Kent State is not anybody that's gonna put fear in anybody's heart. No quarterback play, can't run the ball really. EMU got this one all day in the bag. EMU on the money line. Arkansas at Kansas. At Alabama. Where did I see Kansas at? But oh, it's in Arkansas. Shit, damn. Arkansas at Alabama. I think Alabama is just a better team here, 5-1. Arkansas slumping right now with the hurt people. That's, you know what I'm saying. They still hang in a lot of games though. They do hang tough in a lot of games. Made it tough against Ole Miss. Made it tough against Texas A&M, and they made it tough against LSU. Even BYU as well. Like, they hang in every game. They might even hang within the 20 within Alabama. But Alabama's going to win this game. Money line. Georgia, number one team. They proved us wrong. I was on Kentucky big last week. I thought Kentucky was going to have a shot to win it outright. And that was totally off. Totally wrong. Georgia showed the fuck up. 6-0. Still holding that number one spot down. Vanderbilt is the team to beat up on. I keep saying that every week. They made a weak Florida team look good. Vanderbilt is the team to beat up on. I think Georgia follows suit. I think Georgia might win this game by 40. I think Georgia might win this game by 40. I will lay the spread with Georgia in this one, but I wouldn't rush to the window for it. But you know what I'm saying? Vanderbilt is the team to beat up on. After that performance last week, Georgia, I think we might get a backdoor cover by Vanderbilt. Don't be surprised if, Vanderbilt covers. But Georgia will win this game very comfortably by 3 touchdowns for sure. Indiana at Michigan, number 2 Michigan. Indiana's not ready for Michigan. That's why it's a 34-point spread. Indiana's not ready for Michigan. They're not even ready for Louisville. Michigan will win this game by at least 7. I think it's closer than 34 points indicates. I think Indiana will cover the spread. Indiana will cover 34, but Michigan will beat these boys by more than 7 for sure, more than 10. Michigan State at Rutgers. Now, Michigan State is not looking good, but like I said, last week was one of their best weeks to get the outright victory against Iowa. They covered the 10 points as a push. I thought that was their best game and, best chance to get an outright victory. And they couldn't get the victory, but they did look better. Rutgers did come into this one after a big game against Wisconsin, but they fell short, 13-24. I think we see more fireworks in this game. I think we see 2 teams that's looking to prove something. Michigan is coming off of a damn big upset last game where they think they could have won, where I thought they could have won. I think they come into this one swinging. I think it's an early score for both teams. Maybe even some defensive scores. I like Rutgers to win the game. Money line Rutgers. But I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan showed the fuck up today. I might put some underdog value on Michigan State. Might put them on an underdog ticket. But tread lightly on this game. I might stay away from this game. But if anything, I will say Rutgers and these Michigan State, I think they could go over 40 easily. I think that's the strongest play in this one is over 40. They're not that dormant. You know what I'm saying? They're not that dormant of offenses. Both teams can score the ball. With a low scoring Iowa team, it was you know what I'm saying? 32? And I think that's gonna be it's gonna go well over 40 with Rutgers. Next up, we got Georgia Southern at James Madison. This is a game right here. Now we getting into the good competition right here, man. JMU, Georgia Southern. Boy, oh boy, this is going to be one for the ages. Georgia Southern is looking pretty good this year. Beat up Coastal Carolina. They did lose to Wisconsin, but they beat up on a UAB team who put it to them too. Man, but that Coastal Carolina win was pretty good. Nice, decisive 10-point victory. And that UAB win was pretty good. Put up 50. James Madison only won by 8 against South Alabama, but it's still a good win. South Alabama is very overhyped. I keep telling people South Alabama is overhyped. I don't know why everybody's seizing them, but Utah State almost beat these James Madison at the end. But it was a pretty decisive win for James Madison in that game as well. I think that Virginia game speaks volumes for James Madison in this season. As you see, their defense could give up a lot of points. 35, 38, and 23 were the most points they gave up this year. And I think they give up points here again against Georgia Southern, a team who's putting up 40, 50. You know what I'm saying? 34. Like they can score. I think we get well over the total. This should be starting off at 64. This total should be starting off at 64. You know what I'm saying? I get what they're trying to say. It might be a defensive game, but they know it's gonna be in the 60s. It's at 58.5. It's gonna go up before the kickoff. I like the over, and I like Georgia Southern to get a victory in this one, upset. Takeoff JMU's perfect record. I think Georgia Southern improves to 5-1 and knocks JMU to 5-1. Georgia Southern to win and the over. It might be an overtime game. In that one. Both teams solid. Next up, we got Iowa State at Cincinnati. And Iowa State keeps on fucking shocking me, man. They keep on shocking me when I count them out. Like Oklahoma State. So look at this sequence, y'all. This is totally unpredictable. You lose to the Ohio Bobcats by a score of 7-10. You put up 7 points against Ohio Bobcats and lose. You know what I'm saying? And then the very next game, you beat Oklahoma State. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like how? And then you go out and beat TCU. I just think it was more of TCU shooting themselves in the foot than Iowa State winning that one. Cincinnati put on a good showing against BYU, but they came out with the L. And now they're on a 3-game losing streak, man. They look solid against Pittsburgh. They look solid against EKU, of course. Who can't look solid against them? And I think where their slump started was this Miami of Ohio game. Heartbreaker loss in overtime where they were up, and they just let their rival, in-state rival, come back and win. Heartbreaker. Never fucking had a shot against Oklahoma. Tough draw. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the best schools in the country. Tough draw. You're not about to win that one. Then you got to play at BYU. Yeah, that's a tough draw. I think Cincinnati got a good draw in this week against the Iowa State team who's super inconsistent. Lost to Ohio Bobcats. They only put up 7 points. Man, I honestly feel like Cincinnati should win the game, but for some reason, man, I think Iowa State's gonna keep it closer than I'm expecting. I'm probably gonna stay away from this game, but I could see the upset happening here against Cincinnati team. But at home, man, against a dormant Iowa State team who put up 7 against Ohio, I think Cincinnati gets the W. I'm going to lean with Cincinnati money line. Lean. It's a strong lean. Syracuse at number 4, Florida State. Florida State 5-0 after a scare against Boston College and a scare against Clemson in overtime. And then you know what I'm saying? You failed to cover against a Virginia Tech team who you were up 22 in the first quarter, 24-0 in the first quarter, and you fail to cover that. But it's still a decisive win. Syracuse did get their ass handled against UNC, 70-740 score. Clemson handled them as well. They beat up on a Purdue team by 15, and they beat up on Army. You know what I'm saying? Purdue hasn't really beat up on nobody. They play a lot of the weaker teams. They beat up on a non-conference. Then when they get in a conference, they start to lose against the tougher opponents. Florida State on the money line is my pick. Florida State's going to roll these boys, no problem. But I think Syracuse does put up a fight. I got Syracuse to cover the spread, but Florida State to win. Toledo at Ball State now. This is, you know what I'm saying, one of those trap games where Toledo lets a lot of people hang in the back door for some reason. Toledo is the better team. I got Toledo to win this one on the money line. Ball State has no, like I said, every week, Ball State has nothing. They have no run game. They have no throwing game. They have no special teams. They have no coaching. Like, they have nothing, literally. Ball State is probably waiting on their basketball season to start. I'm taking Toledo. I'll lay 2 touchdowns with Toledo. Probably not 17, but 2 touchdowns for Toledo. I'll lay that. But this is one of those trap games, man. It might come be a flat spot for Toledo. Stay weary of this game. Do not put it on every ticket. Be weary of this Toledo team, man. They're kind of iffy at times. They're kind of scary at times, man. Ball State could be on a catching these boys on a flat spot. Navy at Charlotte. Now, Navy is pretty solid. Charlotte did stick it out with Maryland earlier in the year. They did, you know what I'm saying? They kept it close in the first half with Maryland. Put up 25 against a good Georgia State team, but that was a decisive loss for them. Florida, you know what I'm saying? Florida's nobody, really. SMU beat them by 18. And I think they get rolled on again by Navy. Navy is the much better team. They put it to Syracuse. I mean, not Syracuse. Damn, that's Army. They put it up there with Memphis. I mean, they hang in there with Memphis. They stood in there tall with USF. And they beat a good North Texas team who could score a lot. You know what I'm saying? North Texas could average about 28 a game, and they stopped those boys. I think they beat up on a solid Charlotte team. Charlotte is solid in their own way, but not against a Navy team. I think Navy's better on the run game, and I think Navy has the slightly better quarterback, super slightly better coaching on Navy as well. I think Navy has the better defense too. The better secondary is in Navy. Charlotte has no safety help every game. Charlotte's looking terrible in the secondary. Navy's much better on secondary. Navy on the money line. Now we got Cal at Utah. Now this one is where it gets interesting. I got Cal to cover the spread. I'm not a big Utah guy. Utah is 4-1, number 16 in the world. But I think Cal has way more fight. You know what I'm saying? Last game against Oregon State, they put up 40, beat Arizona State. I think Cal damn near could win this game outright if everything goes right. They only beat Baylor by 7, UCLA by 7, and lost to Oregon State, who Cal just put up 40 against. You know what I'm saying? I think Cal has the way better offense on Cal. Utah has probably the slight edge on defense, but unless Utah just wins the game by strictly defense, I don't see it happening. I like Cal to cover the spread, and I like Cal to get the outright victory. On the money line, I'll sprinkle some on the money line for Cal. I'm not sold on Utah. Next up, we got probably the game of the week. Oregon at Washington. And I'm going to go ahead and side with Washington. I know Oregon does always get the better of this matchup. Oregon, you got to prove you could beat Oregon to be the favorite against them. You know what I'm saying? Washington, I think they got they got the quarterback they need this year. They got the weapons on receiving end. Their weapons on the receiver group is crazy. They got a running back there too, and for Washington, so I think they're good on all facets of the game. The defense for Washington is there, and Oregon, man, Oregon. I think Oregon is a great team. Great team. They're number 8 for a reason. They should be probably number 6, number 4. Oregon is that good, man. You do have to prove that you could beat Oregon. And I think they do just that this game, man. Washington is the better team right now. As of right now, in this point of the season, Washington has done more to impress me. Oregon did stump on Colorado, silence the noise, but they also let Texas Tech almost beat them. If they didn't get that pick six and they were down most of that game, they would have lost to Texas Tech. No chance for Stanford, no chance for Hawaii, no chance for Colorado. You know what I'm saying? They're beating up on the weaker teams. A little bit of an inflated record, as you could call it. It's an inflated record for Oregon. Washington has played some decent teams, but they've played pretty much lower competition as well. When you're that good of a team, everybody's lower competition. I think Washington's at home. Everybody's going to be sold out. That atmosphere in this Washington stadium is going to be electric. I got Washington in the nail biter, thriller, game of the week type of game. I got Washington to hold it out at home. UMass, Penn State, all day long. Penn State is going to win this game. But I think UMass covers. I think UMass covers this game. Too many points for a Penn State team to be covering when they got a big look-ahead spot against, I think, Ohio next week. I think this is a flat spot for Penn State. They come out here and win. They win the game for sure, comfortably win for Penn State, but it might be like 32, 34, 31 to 14. You know what I'm saying? 31 to 7. Even 38 to 10, 38 to 10, 42 to 10. I don't think they get into the 40 range of covering. Penn State to win, but UMass to cover in the back door. Illinois at Maryland. I got to side with Maryland all day long. Illinois is not it. 0-6 against the spread. Never covered the spread in all 6 games. Maryland is the way better team. Stuck it out with Ohio State. And I think, man, Maryland is going to be a force to be reckoned with moving forward after that ass whooping last week. Maryland's looking to jump back and looking into the 5-0 team they were. Maryland to win this game by 2 touchdowns. I'll lay the 14 with Maryland. Texas A&M at Tennessee. Now we got Texas A&M, y'all. And Texas A&M is a good team. But they're not going to beat Tennessee at home. If Texas A&M was at home, I could see the upset maybe. Then, yeah, a little bit more. And I'm not a big Joe Milton fan. I do not fuck with Joe Milton that good. But this is Tennessee at home. Sold out crowd atmosphere. Texas A&M, Tennessee. Both teams are going to have, you know what I'm saying, alumni there, crowd, family there. And I think Tennessee is the far better team, man. Texas A&M couldn't beat Miami on the road. Tennessee is the way better home team. That home field advantage is electric for Tennessee. I think Tennessee has a feel-good win here. Tennessee might win this game by 8 to 9 points. I got Tennessee to cover the 4. BYU now coming to this one, underdogs against TCU. And I think this is a classic underdog spot. I'm taking BYU plus the 5 to cover against TCU, a good TCU team. I like what I've seen from TCU every week except for last week. TCU is a good team, man. They could put up 30 on any given night. They're a great team. They went far last year for a reason. BYU is a good team as well in their own right. I think BYU gets the outright victory, but I'll take the +5 just for extra cushion. Miami, Ohio, who beat Cincinnati team in overtime against a Western Michigan team who covers a lot of the spreads. 4-2 against the spread for Western Michigan. Easy covers for Western Michigan. Western Michigan, we rode them last week against Mississippi State, put up 28. Dominated Ball State, who has nothing. And then at Toledo, they put up 31. So this Western Michigan team has some fight in them. They could perform now. They could put up 25 or more a game. You know what I'm saying? And Miami of Ohio is a good home team. They beat Kent State at Kent State by 20, 23-3. And then they held Bowling Green scoreless like crazy. Cincinnati did get show them a bad game that game, but that's what the rivalry is about. I think Western Michigan covers this spread as well. Western Michigan is not Kent State or Bowling Green. Western Michigan is not Bowling Green or Kent State. I think Western Michigan is way better than those two teams. Miami of Ohio this is a hard game for Miami, Ohio to come out here and win. I don't think if they do win, it's by 3 points, 3 to 4 points, not 7 or 8. No way. Western Michigan might win this game outright. I got Western Michigan on the money line. If not, I'll take them with the +9. Troy at Army. I gotta go with Troy in this one. Troy showed me otherwise against Arkansas State last week. Completely throttled them boys. Army did stick it out with Syracuse, led in the first quarter, but other than that first quarter against Syracuse, Army has really done nothing. I think we do get a higher scoring game in this one. Both teams will score. I think we get over the total of Troy and Army, and I like Troy on the money line and the over. Bowling Green at Buffalo. This is going right over. Both teams has no defenses. Bowling Green is getting shut out. That's the only thing where it might go under is Bowling Green can't muster up enough points. I got Buffalo money line in the over. Next up, we got Akron. Terrible Akron team who we faded last week because we know DJ Irons is hurt. And what did NIU do? 50 burger, 55-14. Central Michigan to win big time. I got Central Michigan to lay the 2 touchdowns. Until DJ Irons is back in the lineup, I'm fading that team by 2 touchdowns every week. Central Michigan to win big time and the over. Central Michigan in the over. Wake Forest at Virginia Tech. Now, Wake Forest did cover last week for us. We had them boys to cover it against Clemson. They did just that. They lost against Georgia Tech last week before that, and they let Old Dominion lead the whole game, just for them to come back and win by 3. And this one of them games where Virginia Tech is they're a favorite for no reason. Virginia Tech has done nothing to be a favorite at all this year, and I think Wake Forest is the better team. Wake Forest is probably one of the cash cows of the week, one of the biggest underdogs that might cash for us. Basically, that's why it's a pick 'em, because they have such a high chance to win as an underdog. I got Wake Forest on the money line. My models have this projected for a Wake Forest win of at least 7. We got Wake Forest projected to win by 7. So I got Wake Forest to at least win by a field goal. You know what I'm saying? Wake Forest has the better offense, and sometimes I could argue that the better defense is on Wake Forest sometimes as well. I got Wake Forest. Florida, South Carolina. Now look at Florida, you guys. Only a 2-point underdog against South Carolina, and they're 4-2. That's how you know Florida is not trustworthy. South Carolina is not having the best season, but they are a formidable foe. And this is one of those classic games where people fall off of Florida. I think Florida gets the outright victory in this one. Florida is 4-2. We already know Florida is not the best team this year. They just beat up on Vanderbilt, which is the team to beat up on. But they also beat up on a Tennessee team earlier in the year. We can't forget about that Tennessee victory. It's not going to get swept under the rug. They beat Tennessee this year. This same Tennessee team that just 21 these boys. And they let Furman put up 21. They almost lost to Mississippi State. But they did play a good game against Georgia. Couldn't beat UNC. I think Florida wins this game outright. This is one of those games where we already know Florida is bad. We are already looking to fade Florida. But not this week. Whenever Florida's going against a top tier team, then yeah. But not against South Carolina. Florida will win this game. Even with that dormant offense. This is one of those examples where people let the books persuade them. We don't let the books persuade us. FAU, USF, damn near a pick'em. I like what I've seen from USF every week. I think USF wins the game. FAU on the road, 1-1. Against the spread, at least. You know what I'm saying? 1-1 against the spread on the road. Covered against Illinois, didn't cover against Clemson. Lost to Ohio, and they beat Tulsa by 3. I think USF is way better than Tulsa. USF did lose to the UAB in a shootout, but they also gave it to Navy, 44-42 on Rice, and they held Alabama to 17. I think USF is the better team here at home. Their offense is more proven. I've seen more proof that USF is better. I've liked what I've seen from USF every week. I can't say the same about FAU. They let Ohio Bobcats beat them. I got USF on the money line. That's a pretty much no-brainer for me. Now we got Big Play Kansas, the Big Play Jayhawks, ranked for the 24th spot against Oklahoma State, who just continues to be inconsistent, super inconsistent for Oklahoma State. I got the Big Play Jayhawks to win this one. Big Play Jayhawks is the much better team, much better offense, much better. It's less question marks for Kansas. It's way less question marks for Kansas. Iowa at Wisconsin. Iowa is not that good. They're a run-heavy team. Every time you see Iowa, take the under. Wisconsin is the better team here, but it's one of those games where the defense might rule the day for Iowa. I got Iowa to cover. I think Iowa has a chance to win outright, but I think we see Wisconsin pull out a slight victory, but Iowa keeps it closer than 10 points. Iowa to cover, Wisconsin to win. Now we got Ohio, the team who's been beating up everybody. Ohio. This Ohio team is just this good, right? They beat Iowa State, Bowling Green, and with Kent State. Nobody's. The best win for them is Iowa State. Beat FAU, and they lost to San Diego State of all teams. I think this is one of the weeks that NIU. This is the game NIU has marked off on their calendar. NIU knows that Ohio is one of the better teams in the Midwest, you know what I'm saying? So they're kind of going to get up for this game like they got up for Toledo. I think we see a tight game in this one. I think NIU has what it takes to win the game outright. I'm going to back NIU plus the 6.5. Might sprinkle some on the money line. NIU on the plus 6. Might buy that up to like plus 12, plus 14 for NIU. I think NIU covers that spread, wins the game outright. UNLV versus Nevada. Nevada's 0-5. UNLV's 4-1. Total mismatch of a game. But this is an in-state rivalry. Nevada versus UNLV. Everybody's from Nevada is going to be here. Now, this is one of those games where UNLV is the better team. UNLV will get the better of the Nevada team. But I think we see a sloppy game from both sides. I think we get a sloppy game, a sloppy rivalry type game. Man. I think Nevada puts in a little fight in the first half, but UNLV to win the game. I don't think Nevada could cover the 10. I don't put faith in Nevada. I think UNLV could cover that 5-0 spread. Like, they keep it going, 6-0 spread. They're 5-0 against the spread. I think they keep it going to 6. Nevada is not that good at all. They did cover against Kansas, but other than that, man, Nevada is a nobody. UNLV to win big. I'll lean with Nevada, UNLV to win big. Now we got San Jose State, University of New Mexico. And this is one of those games where San Jose State, coming off a big upset win against Boise State, they're probably, a little big-headed. They're 0-3 on the road. They are better than this New Mexico team, though. They are better than New Mexico. New Mexico played a fair game against Wyoming. I could say that. They played a fair game against Wyoming. But they only beaten UMass in overtime and Tennessee Tech. UMass and Tennessee Tech. San Jose State's much better than UMass. San Jose State is the better team here. But I think San Jose State's on upset watch. Be careful for betting on San Jose State at such a late game. New Mexico could pull off anything with a late game like this. I think we get well over the total. It might be a 67-point game, 66-point game, 41-24, 47 or some shit, 47-24. You know what I'm saying? I think New Mexico will lose the game decisively. San Jose State should win this game by double digits. But I think we get over the total. Louisville at Pittsburgh. Classic football math. I'm a big Louisville guy. They just showed me why I should have took them against Notre Dame. I faded Louisville last week against Notre Dame. I faded Louisville, and they showed me why I shouldn't fade them. They're 6-0. They might be ranked even in the top 10 if they win this game, or they might be on the edge of like probably 12, ranked number 12 if they win this Pittsburgh game. I think they're way better than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is terrible at quarterback. No quarterback for Pittsburgh. Pretty much, you might as well play a second string or a freshman for Pittsburgh and get somebody else started going up. You know what I'm saying? It's no hope for that quarterback they have now. Last week, Pittsburgh did lose again against Virginia Tech. Terrible loss for Pittsburgh. They're not beating anybody. 0-4 against the spread, one push. Louisville is the much better team here. Louisville to win on the money line. Louisville is the much better team here. It's no doubt. ULM at Texas State. I got Texas State to win the game outright. We had ULM to cover. They couldn't do it. Texas State beat Nevada by 11. UL Monroe beat them by 4 only. You know what I'm saying? A close game for Texas State. And then ULM, we had them to cover last week. It was no shot in the world for them to cover. No shot at all. Lost by 40, Man, they lost by 48. That's crazy, dog. It's that much of a damn difference. Like, wow, that's terrible. There's that much of a difference between 2 weeks. App State, you put up 40, then you just put up 7 against like it's make it make sense, man. That's football math right there, man. It makes no sense. ULM is a doormat team, a lower tier team. You can't put too much faith in ULM. Can trust them to put up 40 every week. Texas State is the better team. Already beat Baylor, first game of the year. Texas State is gonna win that. Now Kansas State did disappoint me against Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State is not that good this year. Every game has almost been an over for Kansas State except the last game. Texas Tech is an over machine again, but they did have an under because they stepped up on defense against Baylor. Stepped up on defense after the second half against Houston. Held them shut out in the second half. But I think we get a nice over in this game. Kansas State is not going to be held under 21, and Texas Tech will not be held under 21 as well. I think both teams getting over 28. Kansas State is the superior team here. Kansas State is the better team. They almost beat Missouri. Missouri beat a huge field goal to win that game. USF is a nice team. They did beat them boys by 13. And they just laid an egg last week against Oklahoma State. Kansas State is a little bit overrated. They are a little bit overrated, but Texas State did stick it out with Oregon. Beat up on this Baylor team and Houston. We already know Houston's nobody really, but they did lose to Virginia Tech. Texas Tech is beatable. I think Kansas State is the slightly superior team here. I would go with Kansas State on the money line and the over. Marshall at Georgia State. Now, Georgia State is good, man. Georgia State is good, but Marshall is just on another level right now. Marshall is on another level against North Carolina State. Georgia State's coming this one with a big win against Troy. A big loss against Troy. And that was a big loss. They lost by 21, put up 7 in 4 quarters. I think this is where the losing streak starts for Georgia State. Marshall continues to improve by the week as the weeks progress. Against East Carolina, they won. Virginia Tech and a nail biter won. When I faded them, I thought Virginia Tech had the best shot to win their first game against this. You know what I'm saying? Weak Marshall team. No, Marshall proved to be the better team. Old Dominion, 35-41. South Carolina, 41-48. And those were 40-point totals. You know what I'm saying? And this game, I do think we get under the total. I think the books are a little bit late on the over now. I think we get under the total. It's going to be a tight game between these two good 4-1 teams. A lot of defense. And you know what I'm saying? Both teams will be a little bit more defensive in this game. I got Marshall on the money line and the under. Marshall on the money line and the under. Arizona at number 19, Washington State. We were on Washington State big last week against UCLA. They had all the chances to beat them. And they just, threw an interception, lost the game. You know what I'm saying? I still think that they're better than UCLA. I do. Arizona did. They're a covering machine. I like this Arizona team as well. I'm usually high on this Arizona team. Took USC to overtime, triple overtime. Stuck it out with Washington as well. Lost by 7. By 7. And they only beat Stanford by 1. That's a classic Arizona team. Beat Stanford by 1, keeps it close with fucking USC. Washington State is the better team, better quarterback. Washington State and Arizona. I like both of these teams to score a lot, but I think this is one of those defensive games as well. Everybody's going to be expecting a huge, high-scoring game, huge, high-scoring game. I think we get under the total in this one. Sometimes we got to go in contrast to the public. I think this is another game where we get under the total. It might be 24. I say the final score might be around like 24 to 30, 24 to 31, maybe high 50s, but I think we get under 60. But I got Arizona to cover, Washington to win. Arizona's a covering machine. Washington State to win, money line, but I think Arizona will cover. Auburn against LSU. Now, Auburn almost beat Georgia, man. LSU is looking pretty solid after that clutch pick six at the end of the game to win that game. But I think this is the week we get Auburn a cover. Auburn will cover this week. It shouldn't be a double-digit point spread. Auburn looked good last week against a Georgia team. I think Auburn has a shot to cover the double digits, but I think LSU still pulls out the victory. LSU is a different caliber team still. LSU is the better team still. LSU will win the game, but Auburn will cover and make it a single-digit win for LSU. But LSU is on upset watch. Wyoming at Air Force. Now this is a game where I like the over. Air Force is a big over team. Air Force is one of those teams that everybody's going to think it's going to be a low-scoring game because they're Navy or Air Force, you know what I'm saying, Army. All of those teams are usually under teams, but not Air Force. Not Air Force. I'm glad they're even betting this down. This is going well over the total. I got Wyoming to cover the spread and Air Force to win and the over. I think the strongest play here is the over. This is going to be over this in the first half. I think Wyoming covers the spread easily. I don't see why Wyoming's a double-digit underdog. If it's an injury I don't know about, maybe so. But if there's no injury to the quarterback or running back, I see no reason why Wyoming is an underdog. They just came off a Fresno win. What is the spread going on? It must be an injury. It must be an injury. I gotta look at that. But anyway, Wyoming is probably gonna win this game outright if it's no injuries. But if it's an injury, I got Air Force to win in the over. USC 2-point underdogs against Notre Dame, who just lost to Louisville. I think USC is not the underdog here. USC is the better team. I got USC on the money line. But this will be a good game. I got the under and USC on the money line. Miami, not of Ohio, because this is just a regular damn game for these boys. Miami is used to facing UNC. You know what I'm saying? UNC is 5-0. They got their number one receiver back. UNC proved it. Like, they were missing that damn receiver, man. That's their number one receiver, the best receiver in their receiving room that they say. And I think Miami's just lost to Georgia Tech, man. It got them kind of like on the back burner now. You know what I'm saying? You just lost to a Georgia Tech team who just lost to Bowling Green. You know what I'm saying? What a crazy sequence if you're Georgia Tech. It's no way you lose that game as Miami. Miami should be 5-0, but they fucking choked. Why are you running the ball if you're up with 40 seconds left? There's no way you should be running the ball. The coach got paid off to do that, or it's either just he's that stupid or he got paid off. It's either one of the two. But if he's just that stupid, I think UNC has no problem winning this game. If you're just gonna be that blatantly stupid, cost your damn boys a whole fucking hard-fought victory that they earned with your bad decision, that's not a team I'm looking to back on the road. UNC at home is a force, man. UNC is nice. I like UNC to win the game. This is an over waiting to happen. I like both teams light the scoreboard up. Should be starting off in the 60s, at least a 63-point total to start off. 60 is the way to go. Over in the UNC win. Next up, we got Missouri, the underdog against Kentucky. And I'm looking to fade Kentucky after that terrible showing. I'm not a big Mizzou fan either, but they showed me that they can hang with the top teams in the nation, like LSU, 39-49, beat up on Memphis, got a good win against K-State. I think this Missouri team is fucking slept on and underrated, even by me. I'm not high on this Missouri team at all, but they've proven me wrong every week. And you Kentucky, they look good, but they've only beat up on Florida, who's like, you know what I'm saying, a question mark. I think Missouri is not the underdog. I think this is one of the cash cows of the week. Missouri is going to make us a lot of money this week. Cash cow, underdog of the week. Missouri is a lock. I got Missouri to win this game outright. North Carolina State at Duke. I got Duke all day. Duke is a much more sound defense, much more proven team, way less question marks. North Carolina State is letting Marshall go back and forth with them. Duke beat Clemson. I like Duke to win this game outright. Comfortable win. Duke by 7. I'll lay the 7 with Duke. UAB, UTSA in a nighttime slate. And they keep continuously to disrespect UAB. This is the lock of the week. Write it down, take a picture of it, store it in your voice memos. UAB is the underdog of the week. I like UAB to win this game on the money line, UAB money line, or plus the 9 if you want to get extra cushion. But I like UAB to win this game outright. UTSA is not good after that win they got last week. UCLA, Oregon State. Now, Oregon State is one of those teams that's super good on offense, but questionable on defense. And UCLA is one of those teams that's all right on offense. They got one of the best O-lines in the world. You know what I'm saying? They got a whole bunch of like O-line, good coaching. They got the fundamentals on them on point. They're a fundamental, like a Spurs type of team of the college. But you know what I'm saying? They're a very fundamentally sound team. They do the fundamentals correctly. They're going to do the bare minimum. But I think with Oregon State, you got a lot to worry about. That offense could get going. They put up 52 against Cal. Beat Utah, who gave UCLA a run for their money. I think Oregon State is the much better team at home here. But don't be surprised if UCLA stayed in there. Because Oregon State did look bad against Washington State team. They did look bad against them. But I think if UCLA was at home, UCLA wins the game. But I think just because it's a home field advantage for Oregon State slightly gets the victory here, slightly. I think UCLA is going to have these boys on upset watch, though. Tread carefully. Boise State at Colorado State. And Colorado State got absolutely handled by Utah State. That was a terrible showing. But, you know what I'm saying? Colorado did not look that good against Utah Tech the week before that. They really didn't look good against Utah Tech. They blew that game out of proportion in garbage time, basically. They did take Colorado to overtime in a temper-flaring game. Middle Tennessee beat them. They beat them by 8. Boise State shitted on themselves. You know what I'm saying? They almost lost this game to San Jose State. I'm pretty much considering this shit a loss. As you could hear me say earlier in the video, Boise State lost that shit. Despite the win, they got the late win, but they pretty much lost that game. They were dead in the water the whole game. They were down 20 at one point, 20-something. They lost that game to me, honestly. They didn't win that game. Boise State lost that game. They got outperformed, but they found a way to win the game. Like I said, Boise State was the better team. I do think they're still the better team. They got the outright victory, but they lost that game, truthfully be told. There's no way you cough that up. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect to keep winning a game like that. Memphis is the better team here. When they did fight against Boise State, Memphis was the better team. But I think Boise State is much better than Colorado State. If Colorado State's getting blew out like that against Utah State, Boise State should not have no problem with this team either. But it's classic football math. I got Colorado State to cover the 7. Colorado State to cover the 7. Boise State to win. Then we got the last game of the night. Hawaii always gets these last game of the night games for Hawaii. They always get this slate. And now they got a San Diego State team who's beatable. San Diego State is very beatable. Very, very, very beatable. 0-2 on the road, straight up. And we were fading Hawaii last game against New Mexico State. And they were down 17-3 at halftime, and they found a way to score 17 unanswered. But the very next game at UNLV, they lost by 24. Super inconsistent Hawaii team. They're not that good. San Diego State took it to Boise State. I see why San Diego State's the favorite, but San Diego State couldn't lose this game. Don't get it wrong. San Diego State's not that good either. I think with the late game, it's going to be some shenanigans. I'll side with Hawaii plus the 6. I'm not eager to back San Diego State in an environment like this at nighttime against a Hawaii team who always has that edge at home. They always have that late night edge at home. Not every game, but Hawaii could keep this game close. I like Hawaii to cover the spread. And that's how we're going to end the slate off for Week 7. For UAB is the underdog of the week. Mark my words. UAB is the underdog of the week. Lock it in. Let me cook up a little 4-leg parlay for y'all. I'm going to have UAB plus 9. UAB plus 9. Wyoming plus the 10. Auburn plus 11. And we're going to have, to finish it off, finish the Sam parlay off, we're going to have I like BYU plus the 5 to finish off the 4-leg parlay. Or if you're not feeling BYU, you could flex that one with Cal plus the 13. That's a good parlay for y'all. Cook it up. Let's hit the books. Beat the odds. It's your boy, yo, Underdog King. The best that ever did it. A true winner, 6 p.m. checking out. Till next time. Let's go, y'all. See y'all next video.